morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani, and I guess we'll continue the Amotekun thing since there was something of a, shall we call it a breakthrough? I don't know if that's what to call it. But long and short of it is that between the federal government and the Southwest governors, there's been some sort of an agreement to, look, we shall work on a framework. Now, that's leaps and bounds from where it was before. It seemed that there was a miscommunication, maybe that's it. But Mr. Libros Oshoma, he's a lawyer and public affairs analyst. He's here. Thank you very much for coming on. And Mr. Chuk Smoko, publisher and social commentator. In fact, both those two gentlemen, being activists of their own, there's a sense in which I do have called them comrades, but I didn't when I put Mr. Guys, you'll just have to accept the Mr. part.
Me, I'm not an activist, I'm a businessman.
So you don't want comrade?
No.
Comrade will
It's
mess
my
things
brother.
up.
Libros is my brother.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. But comrade, Libros is a comrade.
A comrade, yes.
If you address me as one, I will take it coming from you.
Great to have you guys. But
Same to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Indeed, compliments of season, guys. It's a breakthrough, isn't it? Because there was apprehension, as to look. So many people were saying that Amotekun, it's not a bad thing in its own right. But now I think we've reached the level where, indeed, everybody seems to agree that no, it's not. Let's just do it properly. Let's put it within the proper framework. A lot of people will be surprised to hear that, there wasn't any legal framework until, I think the very first guy who was talking about this was Femi Falana, SAN. He spoke about it very early. Libros.
Yeah, I knew that we'll get to this point, but just that, typical of us as a people, we would, create sensation out of every issue. All of the sensation that were created were unnecessary, as far as I'm concerned. At the beginning, the governor said they consulted with the IG. The moment it was formed, if there were misgivings, what I had expected, which is what they had done now, is for the federal government to say, you know what, guys, there are gray areas we think we need to sit down and further discuss and iron out on this. I don't think you've completely dot your I's and cross your T's. And thanks to leadership and reason that was allowed to prevail at the end of the day, it's still work in progress. There will still be further,
of course,
discussions.
In fact, what you're saying now is one of the points that was made in Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's statement. That look, had that
I was
step
coming to that.
been taken,
Yeah, I was coming to that.
This would not have come into the public.
I also read Ashwaju's statement. A lot of people have condemned that statement that is neither here nor there. But for me, I wholeheartedly support that statement because that's how leaders, talk. There are a lot of people who are expecting him to take, one side. But I told a colleague of mine, I said, look, he has grown beyond just being a Yoruba. It's now, that's why they address him as a national leader. And so he will look at, all interests and then call for, look, it's a good idea, all this talk and call for, but
there still
so
are
that
areas.
It will not be hijacked. And so we don't, as a country, send the wrong signal. There's need for us as a people. The mode of system of government that we're still operating is, still, even though dressed in unitary system of government, we addressed it as federal, where the federal government, still controls security. So to that extent, let there be a collaboration, both from the top, the middle, and the bottom, and which is what they are doing. And that's why I'm saying that there will still be need for further discussion. So that also some regions that might also want to, form similar security outfit, there will already be a template. For me, there's need to also have a reporting line from the police so that there will be a supervisor. There's no organizations now, even private, that provide services to the public that you don't have government regulating. And so we also need to look at the regulatory framework of this security outfit. That's why I say it's work in progress, but fantastic. That channel of communication, had been broken,
Yeah.
and they can only take it further from there.
Indeed. Chooks, likewise, there are those who also are commenting on the regional aspect of it. Well, I imagine every state involved will have to go to their own legislature and get their own law. They can harmonize this, but there are some people who are concerned about the regional aspect to it. What are your thoughts there?
The regional aspect of it is what the Yorubas have been known for many years. You cannot divorce the Southwest or the Yoruba race from acting the way this Amotekun has been conceived. They have always been like that, whether it's
Amotekun. The way you pronounce it, Amotekun, but Amotekun.
Amotekun.
But it doesn't even matter. Why I even went there was that there's this other debate.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a smaller issue as to what actually is Amotekun, and not leopard, as a lot of people are saying.
No,
saying
it's
the cheetah.
Yeah,
it's the cheetah. So I just I just thought we should
absolutely.
bring that up.
But I'm just saying that I can talk about how that history, showed to me how that they have always been in harmony, in every issue.
This was one thing that everybody agreed with
Yes,
in this.
they've always been in harmony.
Whatever your political persuasion, your religious persuasion,
when it comes to
even tribal persuasion,
absolutely.
everybody came together and said, this one is a good one.
Exactly. Because, think about it. I am from south side of Nigeria, but I've lived here all my life. So, it does not even belong to the Yoruba-speaking people. It belongs to all of us. It's ours. And I believe that I should be recruited and be trained over this thing, because security has become everybody's business because of the kind of world that we live in and all that. So all the noise and all that.
And I'm happy you brought that up, because in the course of this conversation, Ogbeni Akeredolu has had reason to say that this is not against any non-Southwestern Nigerian.
No, it is
not at all. In fact, everybody that comes within that geographic area should feel, well, as you're just saying, that it's his and that he has the protection that this...
for life and property, in the place where we live, where our lives have been threatened, where our properties have been threatened, knowing that police has not been able to cope because of the size of what is going on. Now, I believe that those noises and all the ventilation and that we have heard, and all the lawyers and postulations, we're coming from people who didn't conceive the idea in the first place, who are not behind the concept, who don't understand.
I might not have studied it.
Yeah, so they do not understand that it's like a mother and her newborn baby. That child has to be nurtured. So this thing must be nurtured to a point where it can never be perfect, but to a point where the legal framework, all the arrangements, the trainings that needs to happen to make it effective must take place. But when they jumped in, and I'm worried about the mob action that we currently have all over the world. Every time a leadership or a group of leaders come together and say, this is what we want to do, you have this mob action, lawyers coming, whatever. And by the way, talking about lawyers, I know in this Lagos where I live that I know lawyers who have the highest level of billings. We don't hear them, we don't see them. They're online. If you go around, my daughter who is a lawyer, it took me around, showing me the kind of places she would like to work, where the kind of lawyer she would like to turn out to be and all that. And you don't hear these things. And I think that we need to minimize all this jumping and mob action every time leadership comes with an idea. This idea, we must all own it for our safety and for our protection. Because see all this argument that is going on. The guy in Ekiti State who was kidnapped some time ago, that newspaper guy, vendor that was kidnapped some time ago, he's not interested in all these legalities and all these arguments that are going on. He needs to be protected. So they cannot kidnap him again and we'll go and look for another ransom to go and pay. I want to be part of this security outfit. I need to be able to participate.
Let me, Liberals, is it a coincidence that, look, Asiwaju Tinubu's statement came out, long expected, and by the way, he did comment along the way that never mind some of those people who were saying that Asiwaju should speak. They were not interested really in the issue. It was more that he should, because of a knee-jerk reaction, go and misspeak, and then everybody will, those people will not capitalize on that. But forget that for a moment. the coincidence of his speaking and within 48 hours, there's a breakthrough. How do you how do you how do you read that?
They say sometimes the position of
Well, when I say he speaks, well, you know what I meant.
yeah.
He put a statement out there.
it is
So
speaking.
it is speaking to.
Yeah. The position of a leader is a very difficult one. There's sometimes where people expect them to speak and they maintain silence because there are some things that they're saying that others are not saying. Especially one who also acts as advisor, in and out of government. And then sometimes you can walk behind the scene. You can do a lot of background work behind the scene without necessarily talking. But in some, after me, probably I also want to, believe that after all of those consultations, there was need for him to put out a statement even before the meeting.
Okay.
So that people will understand, people will say, look, at least at the end of the day, he made a statement. And be that as it may, even those that were condemning that statement today, some of them also have, after that meeting of yesterday, have also come to the realization that maybe, these are the issues that he probably would have put in place before that statement.
If he had been consulted.
Maybe, I don't know if he wasn't consulted. I would not say.
Well, nobody can say, but the fact that the statement did say that he had initiated communication with the chairman of the Governors Forum, Southwest Governors Forum. Well, people are just drawing.
For me also, mind you, these are chief security officers of their states,
Yes.
their various states.
So they're within their rights.
They are within their rights because at a point in the Southwest, it became, even while kidnapping was going on in South, and then the Boko Haram up north, and then, it got to Benin, and then that, or a Benin Express. A lot of people felt, look, you know what, the Southwest is insulated. But the moment it started creeping in, a lot of people became frightened. And then to the extent that you hear that professors were kidnapped on their way to Ife, and, so there was need to do something. And also, a lot of people, whether we like it or not, a lot of people look, when it comes to intellectual thinking and brainstorming, a lot of people look towards the Southwest in Nigeria, to set the pace. And finally, they said they had consulted for 6 months. Consultation, Asiwaju is not a security personnel in that right to, even if they are chief security officers of their states, and so they probably would have, looked at the areas where challenges would come from. And primarily, areas where challenges would ordinarily have come from would be the office of the Inspector General of Police. And so consulting at that level, the office of the DSS, and then the chief, the National Security Advisor, because those were the people they said they had consulted primarily. Having consulted those team and those one felt, look, it's okay if it is to complement the effort of the police.
Yes.
They probably also thought that was the end. But after the creation, the hue and cry, and the fears that it raised, I felt that there was need for further consultation.
Okay, indeed, we'll come to the fears, but I beg your pardon for interrupting you. Mr. George has called in from Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Greetings to the gentleman there.
Sure.
Morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, I want to appeal to the federal government to please save us from the trauma of controversies. This controversy would have been avoided if there was a prompt or proactive action on the part of the federal government. Why do they always wait until matters degenerate before something is done? I've been quarreling with this. I don't think it has been addressed. Be that as it may, I took a second look at the document that came my way last night, and the issues at stake about this Amotekun need to be expanded, because the way it is being promoted now, these security men will not be armed. if it is just to be providing intelligence reports to the police, we are not likely to get anywhere. We all know that the police is already not able to cope with the trend of crime. That is why, regional health, state health, community health are now coming in. If these people are not armed, they will not be able to perform any function. Just take, for example, kidnappers. If you witness a typical operation, the way they operate, they come in multiple, sometimes 50, and they will be armed. How do these Amotekun people deal with such? And they operate in a place not for more than 3 minutes, and they leave. How are they going to be able to cope with people like that? So if they are not armed, it is not yet what it should be. I am proposing or recommending that they should be armed and their guns licensed. After all, we have private individuals who have guns and have licenses. So these people that have been entrusted with security work, there should be a way to arm them or license the guns to make sure that they do not have wrong arms or the arms do not fall into wrong hands.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. It is indeed a bone of contention, this particular aspect. Look, I'm going to come to you, but intelligence is a key part of security. That needs to be said. And when we're saying that the police, for example, all those people, there are too many gaps in their field of operation. Look, intelligence could help narrow those gaps, but let me not proceed with the answer. I see that you want to come into that.
You don't in intelligence gathering, you don't give uniform to your informants, and project him as somebody everybody should know. Your informant should be an undercover agent. That's why you see the DSS, don't wear uniforms, because they are supposed to be strictly intelligence, units. So for that's why I said
not all of DSS wear uniforms.
Not all.
When it suits them, they will make themselves very clearly visible as DSS.
Yeah, after the intelligence aspect of the job had been done.
So they are
you now see the
undercover
operations.
agents in the DSS.
Yes, you now see the operations. That's when the operations swings in. But primarily, their job is that of intelligence gathering. And so for an agency that is uniformed, definitely you're going to have the intelligence part of it that are, undercover, just the same way you have, undercover agents in the police. But the issue, that's why I said it's work in progress, and this is just kickstarting the discussion, and there'll be need for further discussions, including expanding the men of the police, expanding the operational base of the police, and then the workability of both groups. Also, not every Amotekun agent would have to bear arms if we truly want to secure. Not all of them. And then also this idea of everybody bearing arms. I listened to a documentary by the Met Police chief. He said, look, bearing arms on its own, it's something that has to, if you're not properly trained for it, and you're just given an arm, you might misuse it.
Of course.
Because it has also a spirit and a force behind it.
That is why there must be psychological testing.
Yes.
And
so you find in situations where we have issues where even our policemen, uniform, misuse firearms.
Of course.
We also had that crisis when you had the Bakassi boys. And at the end of the day, we saw the way it went, and then the high-handedness and the overzealousness of some of the members. And that's why I said this should be a work in progress.
In fact, it is.
It shouldn't just end there.
The conversation, I imagine that
so to round up on this, I also want to quickly touch the area that Chooks touched on. They're talking about lawyers. Some of these lawyers, why you don't hear their voices.
There's someone, I beg your pardon,
because
there's someone.
No, I need to.
Let me quickly.
You don't need to.
I need to. Why you don't hear
Yakub has been waiting for a while, and I don't want to
voices?
lose him. Yakub, please forgive me. I'll come back to you. Good morning, Yakub.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Shafiori.
Yes, sir.
And good morning,
Morning
Lebron.
to you.
And then the other gentleman is Mr. Woko. Shafiori, any day, anytime, I give it to Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because he is a true leader. Because some people in this our southwest, some of political gladiators or people that talk one thing in the morning and then says another thing in the evening. They were expecting him to say something else. In fact, to even put petroleum in the fire. But give it to the man. When he talks, people listening. Now, the 1,000 miles tied from his pet. The meeting is now begin. And then Mr. John says something that is very, very so germane. In the sense that, yes, if you don't harm these people severely, you expose them to dangerous people. Because the station is this. I quite agree with Mr. Lebron. It's not all of them supposed to be harmed. Yes, I agree. But failure to harm them, as time goes on, there must be the way we recruit themselves even matters. How do the recruitment is going to go on? Who are these people? You're supposed to, the uniform they put on should be numbered. The way the police uniform numbers, so that if they perpetrate any evil against what they meant to be,
sure,
we can be able to trace them.
Sure. Yakub, we're going into the details. And as you said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the very first step.
Exactly.
Let's just say that we are in the first step now. And thank you very much for your contributions. And look, I'm reminded that the civil defense itself started off not bearing arms, without arms. And here we are. I don't know
about bearing arms today.
Yes, they're bearing arms today. It must be highly regulated. It's a work in progress.
Absolutely.
So the important thing is that now we're no more at loggerheads,
over the idea,
over the whole idea of Amotekun. The statement at the time that it's an illegal outfit, we don't need to be remembering that anymore, because now there's compromise, there's rapprochement. And I think that's where we're. Now, I'm sorry that because I didn't want to lose that caller, I had to go there. But as the point you made...
No, what I wanted to say is that some of these lawyers... No, wait, let me...
I'm not an audience, I'm a participant.
What I'm saying
you need to understand that there's somebody sitting by your side.
Because you're going from one topic to the other.
You raise a legal issue that borders on the way lawyers behave in Lagos.
I didn't say lawyers, I said some lawyers. People who are constantly jumping every time an issue arises.
Okay. Let me hear that point again, so I'm sure about what you...
Every time an issue arises
in
Nigeria, there's some lawyers, it's become, not just lawyers, Afenifere and these lawyers.
Okay.
When an issue arises in our nation, they just jump at it. And I have a problem.
As a topic.
Yes, Afenifere did conceive this idea. It wasn't these lawyers that are jumping at this and that conceived this idea. So when an idea arises...
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the point that I'm making. And you don't have to respond to it. Those that are...
Because I'm one of those lawyers.
That did what?
I'm expecting an opinion on this same...
You didn't jump at it. You are not one of the lawyers that jumped at this thing. You are not a Afenifere.
I can't sit down.
It's all about you. You can sit down and not... You can sit down here.
Gentlemen,
you cannot sit down. You've spoken for too long.
Okay. If the problem...
I'm not here to come and listen to you. I came here to participate in the program. You speak, you allow me also to speak.
Forgive me.
Yes.
Sorry. Guys, gentlemen, you guys are normally cool together. So let the
Afenifere and Falan are not the ones who conceived this idea. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the ones who conceived the idea should be allowed to continue to work at it.
To allow
this idea to evolve.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Look, we had Babatunde Fashola here in Lagos for 8 years. He has done something like this, and he came with his framework. Then there was security launch for fundraising and order and order. The difference is that you have a regional business. It must come with its framework. It must evolve. It must grow. We must make mistakes. It's not going to just from birth become a perfect security organization.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I have a Reverend Matthew in Jos wanting to join the conversation. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Reverend.
So what I just want to put in the issue is this. Is it not for the betterment of the country? You know, security is something else in the country today. If you are going to your office, you lock your door. Anywhere you are going, you lock your door. You have secure your room. If it is betterment of the country, why partiality? If they should be guided and they should allow them. After all, there is no job opportunity. It's a job opportunity for people to be employed. Let's be sincere, because if you call evil for good, The word of God said, evil will not depart from your house. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend. I think I'll just go off on a break now. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And we're looking at Amotekun and the fact that there's been something of a breakthrough, because now we're not much talking about illegality or legality. It's about doing the right thing. It's about what are the legal frameworks, and that has begun now. Now, one of the key things that one of our callers brought in was Mr. George brought it up that look, he's a bit concerned about, people have been saying Amotekun, the Southwest Security Network, was not conceived that they would bear arms. They said that themselves. That is something that Akere Dolu said, and as people shouldn't be worried. But guys, for the moment, let us leave this matter of arms. I was watching Channels Television and I saw a spokesman for what's the Meati Allah. And I hope now Meati Allah will see it differently, because Meati Allah was actually the spokesman. Maybe sometimes it can be problematic if you take what one person who is a member of an organization is saying and thinking that. But he was actually quite disruptive, let it be said. He put everything into a tribal, ethnic, Yoruba agenda aimed at the Fulani to make sure to ban the Fulani, to spoil our business. Now, hopefully all of this, I wish I could have that gentleman and then speak with him and say, look, do you see it differently now? But he was quite hot under the collar and felt that the sole purpose for the establishment of this was to get rid of Fulani from the Southwest. Yet it has been said that no, on the contrary, it can even be protective of the law-abiding Fulani. It was not, we don't say because your business is cattle, therefore you're in our sides. You have to be a bandit. You have to be a terrorist. You have to be all of these kind of people. Then nobody, it doesn't matter what side of the country you come from, nobody will accept that. Perhaps maybe this will now come to the fore.
But that's what I was saying to you, that this idea of...
Somebody has called in from Ikeja. Moyo Sola in Ikeja. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for calling in. I'll come straight back to you. Let me take Moyo.
Okay. It's nice hearing your review of the activities of our Southwestern governors and the leadership of the party over time, most importantly as it concerns this Amotekun initiative. It is very, very unfortunate that in Nigeria, most of us are, or predominantly the citizens are very docile set of people. You see, whatever intention, whatever program the government has, the most important thing is the motive behind conceptualization of such ideas. But it is unfortunate that over time in Nigeria, most of the ideas, most of the policies that have been conceptualized are politically motivated, selfishly driven by the greedy set of leaders that we have. And the moment these issues are not resolved, we can as well assume what the outcome of such policies or initiatives would be. It is very sad that you can have a group of 5 governors that would have an initiative of securing a region, and primarily the legal framework to support the operational activities of such dream was not given priority. And I can assure you, it is the same cause of our crisis in this country that motivated the action of launching the operations of Amotekun, even before thinking of how the operations will be sustained legally. What has been most important to these people is that the launching of the operations of Amotekun has cost implications. At least they have awarded contracts for the purchase of vehicles. Can we know how transparent the award and the purchase of those vehicles are? They have awarded contracts for the program for the launching of that initiative. But probably if they were going to go through the framework, the legal framework, there were no contracts to be awarded in that regard because there are attorney generals in different states, and they have the houses of assemblies.
Okay.
So
Moyo, thank you very much for your contribution. I think we get your drift, and it also can be commented upon. But the broad outlines, the fact that
we dealt with.
Yes, these things will be dealt with. Ashwaju's statement, included the observation that the whole concept of this Amotekun, it was not about to rend the fabric or the national fabric at all. It was not. But let us, having accepted that, then proceed along a line to indeed make sure that the weave was as intact as it needs to be, and it can be done. And then he proceeded to make his own, suggestions. The point that Moyo makes, yeah, I'm sure we're going to come to, I'm sure they're going to come to that.
Those are errors, and it keeps happening and all that, but we can't continue to dwell on those, whatever. We need to move forward. You raised the issue of the Metiala, whatever. What?
Oh, by the way, my producer was whispering into my ear that, not so much whispering as telling me that, look, the gentleman who appeared for Meati Allah on Channels Television on that program, Meati Allah has since said that actually he was expressing his own individual opinion, and that he does not speak for the organization.
But even as he did not speak for them, we have had this issue.
We have.
For the past 4 or 5 years. And the simple reason is what I've described here as, ethnic loyalty. President Buhari became president, and we started hearing about these guys. But meanwhile, we have lived with them in the Southwest here for how many years? They've done their business. There's need for this security outfit so that we can protect our lives, not just from herdsmen, but from kidnappers and all of that. Because security has become a major business all over the world. What we need to do is what I call identification. The fears that are being expressed, even by Mr. George, carrying arms and all of that will be minimized.
Okay.
If we have what is called identification of those who will be recruited to do this
Again,
job.
these are the details. They say
These
the
are
devil,
the details. It will come out.
Okay. Liberals,
as we make progress.
Liberals, they say the devil is in the details. These are details, and there are a lot of them. In fact, again, because Ashwaju Tinubu is being the guy who, the big one who has spoken about this latest, he's made these points that there's so many details that we now need to address, and that he was sure that it could be done.
To come to your question, let me start with the man on channels.
Yes. Did you catch that program?
Yes, I did. Okay. I listened to Odumakin before him.
Okay.
And that's his, as much as I condemn his statement, I also condemn Odumakin's interview before that. Because Odumakin, Yinka Odumakin, who was supposedly...
Yinka Odumakin is the spokesperson for Afenifere.
Was supposedly representing Afenifere in that program. Made it look as if it was all about Fulani headsmen. Reduced the discussions to security against Fulani headsmen. And so to that extent, I also think the man who also was, was responding, missed the point, with that anger of what Odumaki had said, generalized every Yoruba man, pigeonholed them.
Yes. So because he was saying that they had not hidden their intention.
There's need for us to condemn both statements and both behavior. It is, actions like this that breeds this ethnic loyalty and then subsequent hatred, as if everybody from this tribe behaves that way. And with all of these issues that everybody's pointing out now, yes, probably why there was no legal framework was maybe the governors didn't conceive the idea to be run by the state, but like a business angle, just like you have Odua investment. But now that all issues are coming up, I think apart from this meeting, there's also need for a larger stakeholders meeting where, a lot of issues will be raised, and all of those issues can be considered by, a larger body. And then the financing is very key, very, very key. There's need for us to look at the finances also. So
all of these are the details that we said we are going to really, bring a magnifying glass to the satisfaction of all parties concerned. Mr. Joshua in Irewolede, thank you very much for holding on all that while. Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well, very well.
Greet your guest.
Thank you.
Morning, sir.
I think I commend Amotekun so well. It's such a good news that we are getting there gradually. I think security is extremely over-centralized in Nigeria. You see, before we come to this point of everybody self-help, everybody having to carry gun for themselves, we should take community policing very seriously. They've been playing politics with it and, talking about it. But if a governor is the chief executive of the state, then you have another chief executive like the local government chairman.
Yeah.
Then we have community associations where we have chairmen and all these things. Please let security be brought down to the grassroots. It is everybody's business. With whatever structure we are going to put in place in Nigeria, everybody should move away from all this fear. Somebody will dominate me. Of course, there will be pockets of problems for a start. But when we get there, we need security in a way that it sends some signal to the public that they are being secured, that there are people who are present, especially the idea of gathering intelligence is so important at that level of community. Please let these Amotekun go on, not just Southwest region, every other places. And it can't be anything more than a regional system because all the states are joined together.
Yes.
So we should look at it as something that is very, very beautiful.
All right,
Finally,
then.
sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. And at that point he was making there, it's like as the conversation was raging, if that is the word, on Amotekun before this breakthrough, people were saying that, look, in Bauchi here, we have done our own. In Kano, we've done our own. People are saying that this is not an idea alien to us.
No,
it seems that everybody sees, the sense.
Why this is unique is because it's more like a regional arrangement.
And so that
But
was
you know
scary
what?
to some people.
Yes, but you know what? It has to work. With all the flaws and with all the mistakes that have been made, just work at it. Because if you don't, and if it fails, we are going to be faced with a very dangerous problem. We already have problems. But let me tell you the problem we are faced with. The insecurity that we have suffered now that gave rise to this security outfit, it's being caused by underdevelopment, lack of work, lack of job, lack of infrastructural development, lack of light, lack of power. This thing, if it's not effective, in the next 10 years, what you had during the Bomo era and what we had in recent past, it will be a child's play. So this thing, we all need to support it. Not just support it, but prefer ideas of high identification that I mentioned before is very key.
It's one of the things that
Everybody that must associate with that organization must be properly identified.
Okay, let me bring in Nasir. Nasir is calling in from Mowe in Ogun State. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Nokuyori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
I thank your guest here. The issue of Amotekun, to me, I'm happy the way it has been resolved. Security issue is very, very vital and key and important. All people that have spoken this morning, they are all in support of this Amotekun thing. I pray the government will key into it as much as possible. Community policing too is very, very important. We are doing our bit in Mowe, and Mowe is peaceful. We thank our commissioner and the former commissioner too, which is the AIG now, Liaso, in Lagos. We are working together with the police, and we are getting results. God will be with you. Good morning.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. Libros, the regional aspect that seemed to give people some cause for concern. Would you like to comment on that? Because the point is made that, look, in other areas, I don't know, it was really a state affair, but now it's a state, it's up to 5 of them coming together as one block. And that Mayor man that was said to be speaking exclusively for himself, he mentioned this, that now we're scared of them.
Yeah, you see, yeah, I agree. First and foremost, even in my state, almost every community have what you call civil defense, you know, recruited by the state government and empowered by the state government. And then I think there is strength in unity. And so, to that extent, the state governments, the southern state governors decided, look, what if you have a situation where you have this Amotekun in Oyo State, and then the criminals leave Oyo and move to Ondo? What happens? But since we speak one language, we are almost one, divided by statism. There's need for us to see the entire region as one entity and work together for the betterment of, first and foremost, the people who reside within this geographical expression. Before you begin to talk about whether they are Yorubas or not. And so to that extent, I think the fears raised by the man on
renegade,
TV, yes, for me, they should have been, oh yes, if there are fears, you communicate with the appropriate authorities. These are our concerns. As a stakeholder who resides in this region. Come on
air and speak
these
emotionally.
Are our concerns.
So much so that also, he had to be debunked by his own group.
Yeah,
Say, no. Well, that's not us speaking.
Exactly. You know, because the group understands that there's strength in unity.
Exactly.
And if you can't support, your group cannot cause mayhem, and then you still stick out your neck for them, the law would have to take its course.
Indeed. Mazi Okorafo in Arochukwu, good morning, sir.
If Mazi hadn't called, I would have been
just
shocked.
thinking of...
Good morning, Mr. Libra. Good morning, Mr. Woko. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
But you see, there are two things we have to look at which the government, maybe the government authorities, maybe they are afraid of restructuring, or they are afraid of maybe the people want to hijack the security. No. You see, when Ojuso was in the government during the Obasanjo regime, what happened? When they brought Bakassi, people were complaining. What happened? When Bakassi were just removed, what happened? Do you know the high rate of armed robbery now in the East? Ask anybody. You see the kidnapping. You see, it was when they cancelled Bakassi, was when you see armed robbery going on fastly in the East. And that armed robbery now, in short, migrated to kidnapping. Is there any state in this country that will not hear about kidnapping? Now, had it been the government allow Bakassi to say, with all this nonsense and nonsense can happen in Nigeria, it will not happen. So there is need for government to say, Amotekun, or we see Amotekun or Amotekun, should go ahead. Honestly speaking, you saw what happened yesterday when U.S. Vice President was representing President Trump, Mike Pence. What did he say? He said in that Holocaust memorial, he said, Holocaust will never happen again. Are you getting me? America stands with Israel. What is that? He said, the world must stand firm against the Islamic revolution of Iran. All this. Now, what am I trying to imply then? We should not allow our own myopic interest to oversee or capitalize about people's interests. Because, look, the security of this country is meant for the community, not the government. Because the community knows the terrain of where it's happening. That is why I see me talking about the Bakassi boys. Those Bakassi boys, when they grab anybody, they take you directly to your father's clan and keep you there. And anything, if they want to massacre you, they massacre you there. People will know that from that very compound, they have a criminal in that house. And that was when that thing was going on. All those things reduced. Now tell me, why must we continue dangling to that? Please, Nigerians should listen. Holocaust Memorial, 75th anniversary, 1.4 million souls killed. And how many Jews were killed? 6.6 million. So we should not allow such things of those days to happen again. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, Mazi. We don't have the time, but this points to the whole conversation we've been having. And gentlemen, please, in brief as we're sort of winding down. This whole question of federalism, true federalism, it's intertwined in this whole thing. That why are all these issues coming up? If we had understood, if we weren't actually still being a unitary government under all sorts of disguises, that is the problem that we have here. True federalism, the seed has started. We can delay it, but we probably still have to get around this subject.
I don't usually feel at home when I hear all this true federalism, unitary, whatever.
Okay.
Look, what you need is the right framework. Whether you're walking backwards or you're walking forward in any idea that you have. Look, I hear that on Tuesday that Trump is going to make a statement banning some, is going to be enacting this law about visa ban on some countries. I hear that Nigeria is going to be in the list. What is the issue? Insecurity, corruption, and all these things. This thing has to work because once it works and turns out very well, other regions and other states can emulate this thing. Because some of us have left our states for decades and we'll be here. We need protection. So it has to work. So but if you look at the federal system and you can work with the center in harmonizing this thing, because they cannot deny that we need this thing and that they have not been able to deal with the national security challenges. That's why Trump has this agenda to ban us from coming to their country. Let's stay in our own country and be safe. Okay. So if he wants to stop us from coming to the United States, let's stay here. You have not been able to do with Boko Haram. You can, those laws are not cast on stones. So we can work with what we have by securing lives and properties here, both in the north, both in the south, both in the east, both in the southwest. And then we can have a country. Right now, we don't have a nation. We have just fragments of illusion that we call a country.
Okay. Now, Liberals, the question of true federalism, some people think that there's no how we're escaping it. Do you see it differently?
I agree. There's no how we escape it. Chooks talked about what led to where we are. Hunger, deprivation, poverty, lack of education, and the rest. And we didn't just get to this unitary structure overnight. It took time for us to get to where we are. And so it will also take time to get out of it. And I think this, a step that will take us out of it. Now, fantastically, the federal government feels the need for harmony. And so if it works out in the southwest region, and there is a framework, other region that wants to emulate, there's already a framework between the regions and the federal government that, they can easily, just flow into. And then, who knows, other things can follow. The region can decide to come together. You say, you know what, for education, for rail, for roads, construction, and integration, these are the ways we can gradually do it. And before you know it, in years to come, that same discussion that we have been running away from would have gradually navigated towards it with understanding.
Okay, so I think you two gentlemen agree to some extent on this whole point of federalism. You're saying that it's not the most important part, it's not the biggest aspect of it all. But there are those who are saying that we are not realizing our potential to the extent that we don't have that which has been referred to as true federalism.
Walk into the federalism. Take care of your security. This federal government has been overwhelmed with all these things. You have this federal system. We can walk into it.
Let me see if we can close with a caller from outside there. Mr. Abati from Agege. Okay. You're still there, sir. Good morning, sir.
I'm still around. Good day.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to your guests there.
Good morning, sir.
Please forgive me if my line of thought has been expressed because I'm just joining you now.
Okay. Quickly, please.
What I want to say is that Amotekun has come to stay. There's no doubt about it. But there is something. I want this Amotekun to migrate to economic Amotekun too. Because security is very important. But it is also true that if you don't take care of our people economically, the security, you cannot take care of it. So Amotekun should move down to economic Amotekun, where we have integration on the line of economic as well.
Okay, so thank you very much for that point. I appreciate your calling in. And I'd like to say that really we don't have any more time for conversation, but I'd like to remind us all of Dawn DAWN,
Yes,
the development agenda for Western Nigeria. There's a sense in, if you want, you could call that Amotekun, but you know, that kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
So it's a work in progress. Gentlemen, Libros Oshoma and Chuks Moko, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. Mr. Goshik, there you go. There you go. We understand ourselves in studio. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow, which is Monday actually, not tomorrow, it's because we don't do weekends. Join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Do have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.